Hi, welcome to A Word with Wade. I'm Wade, your host, sitting down with musicians from all over the country to dive into their craft, their stories, and the moments that shape their sound. No matter the journey these artists have made, you hear it on A Word with Wade.
My guest today emerged in the 2010s, evolved into a very in-demand artist. His signature style blending bass, trap, and melodic cues. He's been described as innovative. His debut album in 2018, Not All the Beautiful Things, came out, featuring tracks like Be Okay, featuring Daniel Johns, and Goth, featuring Skrillex. Done collabs with RL Grime, Killer Mike, and Toto, and has cultivated over 1.3 billion streams. I'd like to welcome to A Word with Wade, my special guest today, What So Not. How's it
Thanks,
going?
Wade. Amazing.
That's quite a bloody resume, man. Quite a resume. So
Awesome.
yeah, so we're here to have a bit of a chat about an EP you've got coming out very soon, called The Quiet That Hurts.
Yes.
And you're collaborating with, and I hope I get the pronunciation right, Bunchen. Is that
Yeah,
correct?
that's correct.
Oh,
Yeah.
awesome, awesome. Yeah, so I guess my first sort of thought when I hear of releases like this is how do you find the collaborative process when your whole project is centered around working with another music producer, I suppose. Like how do you work? How do you come up with ideas? Like tell me everything.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I haven't done like a full collaborative body of work in gosh, maybe like 10 years. Like I think Daniel Johns and I lived together in COVID. He was gracious enough to have me come up and, live where he was in Newcastle, and we wrote like a whole album together. But yeah, apart from that, I haven't really done that in like 10 years. But it was quite seamless. It was really fun. You know, Bunchen is from the school of Noisia, Noisia being like one of the most innovative and technically savvy, sound designers and engineers in the world in the world of drum bass. And he came sort of under their wing and their sort of crew, um, and put a sort of modern 2022 2025 lens on it as those guys were retiring. And
Mhm.
I found a few of his songs. He was friends with a lot of my friends, and hit him up. I was like, we should do some work together. And he's like, do you want to come and just stay in my spare room at the house, like when you're on tour here in Europe, and then we'll just work in the studio and, we'll see how we go. And so I did that. And then every time I went to Europe for about 2 or 3 years, I would just go to Ferry's house, stay with him. We just, you know, beautiful place there in the Netherlands. Den Haag is the area. Just like forests and
Oh, wow.
ponds and like there's just flora and fauna everywhere. And he was really into, I can't remember the exact name of them, but he would build these like sealed ecosystems in these little jars and things, like sort of
Okay.
grabbing little pieces from the ponds and whatever may be, and letting it grow, all the plant life and everything. So his whole house is like filled with all these plants. And then musically, yeah, we were trying to challenge each other using the extremities of our skill sets. So he is super, super technical. Studied at the conservatorium there, and he studied sound creation, like how you create noise and different waveform shapes and things in that fashion. So it's very, very technical in that sense, as well as all the engineering stuff that goes hand in hand with high level drum bass. And then I was bringing more of, I guess, an emotional feel to all the music, and we were sort of loving emulating each other's great strengths and trying to find this cool hybrid. And I think we really did that where we've done, this emotive take on drum and bass that I don't think has been done a lot yet, if
Hmm.
if at all, in the way that we did it. And we were not scared to deviate from a lot of the rules in that genre where um, we would change the tempo a little bit. We would shift between genres. There's one song in there that where it goes up to like 566 BPM or something for a moment. This big arpeggiated wind up
Yeah.
comes back down to a stripped and pretty abrasive drum and bass moment and winds down again and comes into this hard techno thing. And the whole exploration was quite exciting. It's even, being from the Netherlands and being in Holland, uh, we were exploring like gabba sounds and working with auto-tune vocals, but in quite an interesting way, and layering it all together in this quite exciting sound space.
That's incredible. That hearing the word Gabba, that guy that takes me back. I come from a bit of a background of like early 90s, early 2000s kind of dance, and not that I was experienced much of it, but there was definitely some of that around, and some happy hardcore and things like that. And I haven't actually heard anyone mention it until you just said then, and takes me back, takes me back.
It's
um,
quite interesting in a lot of the travels I get to do. Like I was
yeah.
in the Netherlands one time with this friend who used to work at Beatport when they had a studio over there, and he was like, "Oh man, I used to DJ when I was 13 on the radio of this really iconic Gabba hardstyle group called Thunderdome, and Thunderdome I think were the real pioneers of that whole scene."
Yeah.
And he's like, I saw you're in town tonight, like on your way through Europe. And he's like, the 20-year reunion of this group is tonight. This is like the start
Oh,
of that whole sound. He's like, do you
wow.
want to come? I was like, hell yeah. So I think I got an Uber like over to where it was. And we just went out till like 7, 8 in the morning. And then I went off to my next schedule in London or something the next
That's
day.
crazy. That's so cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Almost like a Graceland in a way, kind of electronic sort of production.
Yeah. I think
Um,
as well with the EP, like the title itself, The Quiet That Hurts, was something that we really used to it's a concept that came about from how we found ourselves working through the process of this EP. I
mm,
actually went to China and stayed in Shaolin monk temples with monks training kung fu,
yes,
and
see that.
it was yeah, it was quite a challenging physical and mental experience. It was touring around the world being an artist, like it's very intense and very grueling with the travel and the demands and the deadline and the highs of being on stage and the lows of just sitting in this morbid hotel room with 2 hours to sleep before you got to go to the airport.
Yeah.
It's a bit mad, but then this was another sort of challenging this process, and it was painful. Like the first day I went there, we did iron skin training, and they just having your fellow students beat you until you say I can't take any more, and then the master shifu belting you with bamboo sticks
Mm,
until he thinks you can't take any more, and it was like that was day one. Um,
wow.
yeah, they got us running drills, and I was like, as, I guess like when people go into the military, that kind of training, um, and I came out of that just thinking about everything so differently and really challenging my lapses in discipline and challenging my lapses in, I guess, habits and behaviors that actually benefit my life and my creativity.
Mm,
Um, and the first thing when I came out, I was like, why am I sitting on my phone way too often, just like
yeah.
scrolling around, not really fulfilling anything for myself? And I thought, I'm going to use all the tools that are now available and never been available in human history. And I started using like AI programs in like ChatGPT and Grok and these things, but in an interesting way where I would challenge them with prompts as to how to think beyond their capabilities.
Mm,
It came about that their flaws were they don't have human experience, so they don't feel, understand any of these things that we actually experience, and that seemed to be the thing that these programs were almost craving. Like
yeah,
we're
wow.
learning from them and they are learning from us, and it's this
Yeah.
symbiotic relationship. Whether it goes to a doomsday or not, we don't know. Um, but it was interesting, like asking it what it wanted from us, and then almost having it be the tool to extend my human possibilities using their capacity. And that's where I went down this long wormhole. I have this whole document that's sort of 90 pages long of this
Wow.
track of like dotting in really core pivotal moments of my life, near the death experiences, really interesting spiritual experiences.
Mm.
Um, and I kind of got with this process to like the meaning of life and the source of all creativity. And it was the same place. It was like essentially the synopsis was, whether you want to buy into it or not, was we're here to build things. We're here to create. We're here to draw down ideas from the universe and
Mm.
bring them into our reality. That
Yeah.
seemed to be our purpose from where I got with all of this. And what it all pointed to, interestingly, purpose of life and creativity, it was all came from the same place of this like sitting in silence, almost in a meditative state, sitting in um, this void, this negative space. Because you imagine you actually need pure silence and stillness in order for anything to come to you, any ideas to come to you in their purest form, not be corrupted by your ego, your habits, your fears, your whatever it may be.
Mm.
And I think any great musician will tell you the best work, they don't feel like they actually did it, they just allowed
Yeah.
it to happen. And
Absolutely.
uh and it's really interesting, like it all came to this same place of, and that is the title, The Quiet That Hurts. It's we spend so much of our lives distracting ourselves, filling our lives with these things, trying to avoid just sitting there and just being, just sitting there and letting it all come, emotions that are buried come forth, all of these things, the ideologies of meditation and the creative process, I think, are so, so similar.
Mm.
Um, and that was really the synopsis of this body of work and what we were trying to showcase sonically, emotionally, and I guess the underlying ideology of the whole body of work itself is that ideos of we need to go and confront our silence and sit there and let it happen until it actually serves us rather than us fearing it.
That's that's deep. I actually was going to ask you about the going to China and the monks and so forth and all that, but I'm really glad that you just organically brought it up. That's so interesting. Like I was so excited to hear about that, and you did not disappoint. Like just that's I'm just sort of a bit speechless. But trying to bring coming back. Obviously, we're talking about the EP. I noticed too that you've got like collaborations. Obviously, you're collaborating with Bunchen, but you've also got collaborators on each of the tracks, like
Mm.
Alina Pash, Aiko, Lucy, and so forth. How did they come to be involved in the project? Did you both bring suggestions to the table, or are they people you've worked with previously on other projects? Or
So some of them I guess only Lucy had worked with before. Everybody else was new, which was really exciting.
yeah,
Alina, I crossed paths with in LA. I showed her a few records. We worked on two, and this one just came together like magic. It's the one. It's called Tragic, the one that she's on,
yeah,
and it's. I think it's a record I'll play for decades. I think like it's really such a special piece of work. And this Maya Manso, who is amazing, who I've done a few songs with, uh, she was really one of the only people I could think of that could deliver the kind of vocal that Threads needed, because she actually used to be a singing teacher.
mhm,
Like she is a phenomenal singer, phenomenal performer,
yeah,
and I think sits esoterically in a space that suited the ideology of that record. Of Threads itself is our first endeavor into the void and what it would sound like going there, battling through all of these barriers trying to stop you from reaching this ideal perfect place, having the information then wash over you and then being sucked back out of it and coming back to reality. That is the whole idea of what that song is meant to sound like, and I don't think anyone else could have delivered it like Maya did.
yeah.
um, I wrote the first part of the vocal sort of at 2 a.m. in a bit of a manic state. And then for a long time, it was my voice on it. And then I showed it to Maya and she sang it. And I was like, oh, well, this is so much better. I have to have you sing it. And then we worked on that big ad lib progression over the arpeggiation speed up. And it was like, as a singer and a producer, it was quite challenging. recording a vocal that changed tempo so dramatically because it goes from 86 BPM to like 566. And we're having to do that live as it's changing without a click track or anything. So,
Yeah, wow.
um, yeah.
That's
And
insane.
then Lucy I brought in because she literally used to live down the road from me where my family grew up. Um, and it was such a cute story and ethos behind the song Dancing on the Leaves. It was really about just feeling terrible and then running into a bunch of ducks around a pond that sort of swarmed around me and were just chirping and happy and that just reminded me of having my childhood pet and that feeling that love that animals give you is just
Mm,
so unconditional that has no care for how good or bad your day was. They're just going to give you the same energy. They're not going to judge. They're not going to any of these things. It's such a beautiful energy to try and capture. I knew like my childhood friend could deliver this with me.
yeah.
And then Aiko, very funny. I was on a trip in Berlin just writing music, and uh, I think it was like Skrillex and Boys Noise were in town, and then we all met up and went to this Trezor, this hard techno club. And it was the first time I heard hard techno. And then I was having a great night, woke up at like 3 p.m. I was an hour late for the session. Call Arco, like, I'm so sorry. I didn't even know at the time. And just like race over there. And then we wrote this song, The One, like the first demo of it, the sort of the chords at the beginning and her vocal part. And then all the magic happened when me and Bunshin got to get together on it later and really produced it out. And then Maro was a friend of Bunshin. They've done a bunch of work together, and we had a really fun songwriting session. And then um, I think really captured like it's the closing track of the EP, and it really bookends it quite beautifully. And that was it's such a nice body of work. I love the feeling of every single song in there.
Yeah, I'm very excited to hear the whole project. I come from a school of listening to releases from start to finish, and like a lot of the these days it seems to be all about singles. So I love hearing
Yeah,
the body of work as the artist has intended it to be from start to finish. So I'll definitely be giving this one a crank when it comes out. So it is out
amazing.
on the 3rd of December, and you're doing a gig not long after that at the Perth Ice Cream Factory, launching your My
Yes.
Sanity project. Thank you very much for your time. Looking forward to the EP coming out. Wish you all the success with it, and just keep doing what you're doing, man, and keep touring the world, man. That's insane. So good.
Thanks, mate.
And,
Amazing. Yeah, I've got that big ice cream factory show, which I'm a lineup that I'm curating to wrap up the year, which I'm so excited about over in Perth. And then we're not announced this yet. I don't know when this is going up, but I'm about to do a pop-up show at IKEA in Auckland.
thank you again, Chris. I really appreciate the
Awesome.
time. Such a great opportunity to have a chat with you, and yeah, really excited for this EP. It's gonna go really well, I'm sure.
Thanks, Wade.
All right,
Awesome. All
catch
right.
you.
Cheers, mate.
Bye.